Am I the a-hole for breaking up with my boyfriend after he set me up for a loyalty test? I, 25 female, have been dating my boyfriend, 28 male, for a year now. Our relationship has been amazing until one day he decided to put me through a loyalty test for a YouTube video. The entire test felt completely real. The whole time, I didn't flirt and made it clear I had a boyfriend, despite the decoy's multiple advances. Then all of a sudden, the whole crew came out. My boyfriend in particular was smiling and happy. When the YouTuber told me that this was a loyalty test and that I had passed, I sat there confused and stayed silent. When my boyfriend tried to hug me, I pushed him away and walked off. I was completely shocked and humiliated. I knew this was going to be on YouTube, so I didn't want to react the way they probably wanted me to, yelling, crying, making a scene. I simply said, the relationship ended the minute you decided to put me on a loyalty test. My boyfriend tried to stop me, saying I was being dramatic and that I had no reason to be mad since I had passed. That just made me angrier, and all I wanted to do was go home. The next day he called, wanting to talk in private, which I agreed to. However, he had already told his friends, our mutual friends, and my own family about the situation. During our conversation, he would call them or pull up their text messages so they could back him up. They all said I was overreacting and that I should be happy because now that he knows I would never cheat, we can finally settle down and be together. Yes, I love him and had considered that in the future, but I felt completely invalidated. In my opinion, loyalty tests are a lose-lose. Either you cheat or you don't, but either way, it proves that your partner doesn't trust you. I was completely confused because I thought I had given him zero reason to doubt me. So, when I asked him why he did this, he admitted that it was only because his ex had cheated on him multiple times in the past with her coworkers. This meant he had lied, because he had told me their breakup was mutual and drama-free. Also, I never realized he had trust issues, because I'm such a homebody and work from home. Now that I recently got a new job and was leaving the house more and meeting new people, it put me in the same situations and settings his ex had been in. At the end of our conversation, he asked if we were breaking up, and I told him I needed space. That was 2 days ago, and I'm still being bombarded with people saying I'm being irrational for being mad about this. The only thing he has said in those 2 days was that, because I passed, I shouldn't even worry about the video coming out, since they only post the fails, as if that was my concern. Maybe I'm overreacting, but I need some outside opinions, because everyone around me is making me feel like I'm crazy for being upset. So, am I the a-hole for breaking up with my boyfriend over this? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. Your boyfriend went behind your back in a way that left you feeling deceived, used, and humiliated. These are the actions of an ex, so I'd recommend you just block him now. Any friends saying you're overreacting are his friends, not yours, and your family need to learn what respect is. Honestly, needed that. The worst part is that he's extremely close with my family, so even though we have only dated for 1 year, I've known him for so long. My mom especially is taking his side, so blocking him just isn't enough apparently. I would have told him he failed my loyalty test, but we can only hope to be that badass in the moment of deceit. Yep, it's great that I passed, but you didn't. Not the a-hole. He didn't just loyalty test you, he arranged to have it filmed so you could be humiliated, because it's still humiliating even if you pass. Not only that, but he is weaponizing friends and family to harass you about this. He's making it clear he feels very comfortable making everyone else have input on your relationship, and that their opinions matter more than yours does. What happens when the two of you disagree about the wedding arrangements, or home buying, or kids? He has done so much instead of just having a conversation with you. At every stage of this, he involved others instead of just having a conversation with you. He is definitely taking control and leaving her with no space or a say in their matters. He for sure doesn't care for her feelings. Next story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to let my girlfriend bring her dead dog's ashes on vacation? Original post. My girlfriend, 29 female, and I, 28 male, have been together for 4 months. She had a dog that died a few months before we met. I have only ever spent the night at her place. I live with my sister and her 2 kids, so it's a little chaotic at my place. My girlfriend has a small 2 to 3 inches tall urn on her bedside table with the dog's ashes. Before she turns off her lamp to go to sleep, she always gives it a little tap on the top and says, "Good night," as though she's talking to the dog. I think it's weird, but I have never said anything. We were supposed to go away for the weekend. On Friday, I was watching her pack and noticed she took the urn and put it in the top pocket of her backpack. I asked what she was doing. She said she didn't want to leave the dog behind. I told her she was not allowed to bring the urn, as it made me very uncomfortable. I didn't want to see it anytime we returned to our hotel room. I didn't want her talking to her dead dog after we'd had sex. That is, before we go to sleep. It's weird, and frankly, she's been mourning this dog for too long. She didn't argue. She simply started to unpack her bag. She told me to have fun on the weekend getaway, as she would not be coming. I asked if she was seriously choosing a dog's ashes over me. She said she was choosing herself over me, as I could have spoken to her with kindness and empathy but didn't. She also said that I didn't get to dictate how long she was allowed to grieve. Then she asked me to leave. She hasn't replied to my texts. I think she's overreacting. My sister said she can see both of our sides. Am I an a-hole for thinking my girlfriend is weird for being so attached to her dead dog's ashes? Edit. The hotel was non-refundable and only a 3-hour drive, so I went on the trip without her. Edit 2. She started seeing a psychologist around the same time we started dating. She hasn't told me any specifics, but she said the trauma of suddenly losing her dog brought to the surface other trauma from her past. This is why I think she has been mourning for too long. She is still attached to the dog, even after seeing a professional on a regular basis for several months. Now for the top comments before reading the updates. She didn't argue. She simply started to unpack her bag. She told me to have fun on the weekend getaway, as she would not be coming. I asked if she was seriously choosing a dog's ashes over me. She said she was choosing herself over me, as I could have spoken to her with kindness and empathy but didn't. She also said that I didn't get to dictate how long she was allowed to grieve. Then she asked me to leave. Your girlfriend, well, ex-girlfriend most likely, sounds amazing. I wish she were my friend because she sounds like an awesome person to know. Sounds like you lost that privilege by being an a-hole. You're the a-hole. Everything she said was 1000% correct. I don't even have anything to add because she spoke for herself so clearly. The fact that you still don't get it shows you have a fundamental problem actually hearing her. Read and reread what she said until you get it. Edit. You do realize your second edit makes it worse, right? She's working with a psychologist. She's going at a pace that's healthy and comfortable for her, and she has a professional to help her with that. You don't get to decide what's too long for anyone else's trauma or grief. How dare you think otherwise? If you can't keep yourself from butting into her personal affairs like this, then you aren't ready for a real relationship. This. Girlfriend was totally right that she was choosing herself over him, as she should have. What an a-hole. A simple compromise would be, hey, can I get you a necklace so that you can take a small part of him everywhere? Or something, so you don't have to take the whole urn and everything. Her dead dog is still protecting her from bad people in her life. Good on him. He had to have been an amazing pet to her to still protect her in spirit. She is grieving, and you cannot control her. Please let her go so she can find someone who respects her. You're the a-hole. This brought tears to my eyes. Karma is real, and her beautiful late friend is showing her signs to get her on the right path. They never leave your side. They just change how they are looking out for you after some years. It's probably all in my head, but sometimes I swear I can feel my soul boy's presence all of a sudden when I need and miss him most. Now for the updates, and I'm sure this will make a lot of you happy. I get it. I'm an a-hole. I texted my girlfriend to say I'm sorry for how I spoke to her and for dismissing her feelings. It was wrong. I also said I would like to apologize in person and offered to bring over her favorite takeout. She said, all good. Don't worry about an in-person apology. I gathered the things you've left at my house. Let me know when you would like to come pick them up. I'm hoping she will still hear me out when I go to her place. To those of you DMing me who think I'm not the a-hole, but won't post a public comment due to the risk of being downvoted, please stop. That is cowardly. To those saying my girlfriend is a lunatic, a sociopath, unhinged, a trauma dumper, has endless emotional baggage, in need of a mental institution, etc., please stop that too. While myself and others may not understand what she is going through, that doesn't automatically make her mentally unstable. She has a good heart and a good head on her shoulders. Name-calling is unnecessary and borderline crueler than I was. Final update. I shared this post with her, thinking it might help her see that I was wrong and am owning it, and maybe it would open the door to a discussion. That blew up in my face. I probably should have deleted some of the questionable comments I made in this thread. She texted to say, "Your things are now in a garbage bag on the porch. Pick them up sooner than later so they aren't stolen. Goodbye, OP. Please respect my wishes and don't text me anymore." Next story. Am I the a-hole for banning my husband from all doctor appointments after he repeatedly messes with me while I'm pregnant? So, I'm currently pregnant, about 6 months along, and my husband has been doing this thing every time we go to a doctor's appointment. He'll drive me to the appointment. Then when I'm about to get in the car, he drives forward a little, then reverses, then drives forward again. He does this a few times and it always frustrates me. He thinks it's hilarious and says he's just messing with me. I started to get really frustrated. I'm already dealing with the physical and emotional toll of pregnancy, and this just feels like him poking fun at me when I'm already tired and stressed. I told him it bothers me, but he just brushed it off and said I'm overreacting, and that he's just having fun. We had a big fight about it the other day. I tried to explain how it's making me feel and he got defensive, saying I need to lighten up and that it's just a joke. I told him it wasn't funny anymore and that it wasn't something I wanted to deal with during my pregnancy. The final straw was when he did it again before a doctor's appointment yesterday, and I was just done. I ended up calling my mom to take me instead and told my husband he was banned from all future appointments. Well, now he's furious. He's demanding to be there for the next appointment because it's the one where we'll find out the baby's gender. He says this is a huge moment and that I'm being unfair by not letting him come. I told him I need him to respect my boundaries, and this is one of the ways I'm doing that. But he keeps insisting that it's just a silly little thing, and now he's calling me unreasonable for making a big deal out of it. Am I overreacting here? Don't let him go. Tell him it's a boy. Not really, it's a girl. No, it's a boy, but it's actually a girl, even though it's really a boy. Then tell him to lighten up because it's funny. Not the a-hole. Why do people date or marry just utter pieces of crap? Seriously do that, and do it for at least a week or so. And then when he demands you stop, you can tell him it's just a harmless joke. And to get over it, it's no big deal. Be sure to tell the doctor's office they are not to tell him if he calls about the gender results. It's your body after all. Not the a-hole. He doesn't respect your very reasonable boundary. His emotional intelligence needs some work. Also, jokes involving a vehicle and a pregnancy are not funny. That's just scary. Excellently stated. I think that's just about the kindest way to put what we've all been thinking. His emotional intelligence needs some work. Lots better than "grow the F up, dude" that the rest of us were imagining shouting into his face. This guy is not mature enough to be having a kid. Not the a-hole. And is the door open? This could cause the door to shut on OP or knock her down. And if she gets knocked down while he's doing this, it could end up with OP hurt. And as bad enough as this is with a pregnant woman who may not be able to see her own feet and whose balance is off, it will be worse if he does this when she's holding a newborn or when the kid is a toddler. Last story. Am I the a-hole for leaking fake baby names to family? My husband and I are expecting our first child, and we did something to have some fun with annoying family members who wanted to name our child for us. The issue started a week after we announced the pregnancy, and some relatives on either side began suggesting names. Then a few members of our families, mother-in-law, sister-in-law, brother-in-law, my aunt and uncle, and my 2 sisters, decided we'd name a daughter Elizabeth or Cassandra, and a son William or Patrick. We told our families we weren't taking name suggestions and to stop acting like they could tell us what to name our child. We were told the names mentioned were good, solid names and would prevent any weird, tragic names that people these days choose. My husband came up with the idea to have some fun with names and start leaking names we wouldn't use. This meant commenting on random Facebook posts with a name and acting like we were going to use that, or photoshopping photos with baby items that had other names on them, stuff like that. We used some out there names. One my husband even heard from TikTok, Cutley. Another was Dicky. Sprite was another. It annoyed the relatives it was intended to. But then another relative spoke up and was like, why would they waste money on stuff with a name if they change it a week later? And then the relatives realized. They were like, why would you do it? And we told them they were annoying us, and we were having some fun since they were so insistent on the names. They said it was childish. My husband pointed out that they were the ones who childishly believed they could name our child for us. Other family members found it hilarious. But are we the a-holes for doing this? Not the a-hole. This is peak petty and I respect it. The fact that they got so invested in your baby's name that they fell for Cutley is sending me. You set a boundary. They ignored it. And you had some harmless fun in response. If they got that invested, that's on them. Please tell me someone spent actual cash money on customized Cutley merch. No, but there was a family group chat set up where they freaked out over it. My husband got sent some screenshots from it and had lots of fun with the comments implying it was the name we chose. He even shared the TikTok that inspired that fun choice and was acting like people were haters for all the negative comments it got. Then the group chat exploded thinking it was his choice and wondering if they could convince me not to. Not the a-hole. My mother was also very opinionated, and we officially went with Hubertus Maria until our son was born. But we both went into the hospital with our favorite names and decided after he was born on the legal name. I considered throwing some Sims 2 names into the mix, but didn't want to make it too obvious we weren't serious. Euthanasia and Rigor Mortis are adorable boy names, honestly, LMAO. I used to tell people that if it was a boy, we were naming him Thor Alabasis, and if it was a girl, it would be Thorinda May. That way we could still call her Thor. I have an incredible poker face, by the way, and this was in the late 1980s.